Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and I am back with another reaction to Cloak Dagger. We are on episode 4 now, which was called Call/Response. So, episode 3 was huge. It had a lot of, not so much in the sense of action, but we had these really amazing, beautiful montages that both Tyrone and Tandy went through where they got to be witness to each other's stories. And as someone pointed out in the comments a few episodes back, with Tandy being able to see people's hopes and Tyrone being able to see people's fears, they were able to see kind of what was going on in each other's lives kind of through that lens. But really, I think it just came down to showing that they have a lot in common as far as the things that they worry about and the things that they're struggling against, and also that they need each other. Really great episode. I ranted on and on and on about the montage, so I won't go into it again, but it was really, really good. So going into this episode, Tyrone and Tandy, again, they've come together, and I'm glad that Tyrone is like, look, girl, we need to talk. We keep running into each other in the weirdest of ways. Our lives have been tied together since we were children. Let's stop running and let's actually talk about this. So without further ado, I want to jump into this episode and then we can have a little bit of a chit chat about it all after. Okay? Boop.
Why is it still happening, you know? Why us?
Valid questions.
But you're right about one thing. We need to talk.
Wow!
Hash it all out. Maybe then we'll find an end to this whole shit show.
It's growth, Tandy. It's growth.
It all started with a bath.
Bath?
Yeah.
Maybe not the best way to start that convo.
Root work and...
Really, sir?
Hey.
Excuse you.
Hey. Mother asked you a question.
Rude.
Come on.
Sit down and enjoy it with us.
No. Okay? I got things to do.
What you talking like you grown in your parents' house? Now she knocks? Interesting.
We can ask for help from someone who knows what to look for.
That you're not sleeping with and who's high on drugs all the time?
I know that Greg is rough around the edges.
Rough!
But he's a real lawyer, and he's a good one.
Mom.
Because Greg is just another married guy who's gonna tell you whatever you want to hear because he thinks you have a great ass. This never turns out well.
These kids are mouthing to their parents today. Speak of the devil.
Brought groceries.
Aw, get out.
Oh, put them over here.
And by groceries, he means crack.
I was thinking maybe this weekend we could go out there and maybe
Weed, whoa, whoa, whoa.
clear it out a little bit. There's a lot of debris. Thinking maybe we could move all that out. Maybe plant a garden.
That sounds like man's work, so no thanks.
Pass me the cilantro. Thank you.
Guess he's genuine
You
today.
mind passing me the cilantro? You must have done this before.
Nope. I mean, it's wonderful except for the fact that they'd be junkies together. That's all I'm saying.
Give me your wallet.
Why don't you just steal it again?
Right?
Look, I can't walk into a police station.
Why not?
I watched one of them shoot my brother. On top of that, I'm a young black man in the South. They see me, they see a thug.
Amen.
Those rowdy numbers, they led to a shell corp.
Seems like a lot of effort to keep a failed project.
Right?
Why not just bury it with my dad?
Exactly.
That is the $1,000,000 question.
Hmm.
You know, the answer, I wager, is that these Roxxon guys are $1,000,000 assholes.
Yeah, I know the kind.
No, they're trying to hide whatever the heck was in
These
that
guys, they're
thing that
running all
exploded.
kinds Man, we got 2 cars.
Oh, my heart hurts for you right now, sir. He's like holding his backpack like a life jacket. This poor kid.
I happen to notice that my bolt cutters are missing. You know anything about that?
Nope.
I'm sorry, I don't.
You sure?
Lies and slander.
I expect you to understand when it's none of your business, Dad.
Okay, this child is cruising.
Come on. Right now. Right now.
I mean, this morning was one thing, but 2 times in a row, boy.
If I could travel anywhere, I'd travel anywhere but here.
Maybe that's why we got what we got.
Or why we didn't get what we didn't get.
True. I never thought of it like that. Wow.
What happens if we touch again?
Probably concuss yourselves. Let's do it. Man, you just killed the beat like that? How's this brother.
My boy on the sun, sharp his knife. Wild red hawks on proud tonight.
Tyrone's like, Daddy, they ain't liking it. Can we go, please? Can we go?
I got a mind to cut your throat myself.
Woo! Didn't flinch, y'all. His dad's a badass. Okay.
My hands wasn't so shaky.
Right. That's what it was. All right, back to the party. Poor Tyrone's like, these crazy black folk.
Your mom and I, we just laugh about the dumbest shit.
It's because you're high.
It's nice.
When we touch, shit goes boom.
But let's do it anyway. Oh, this is so cool. Whoa, damn. Reflexes are better this time.
That was nice. At first.
First thing, thank you. I was like, you like being slammed into a wall, son? Whole different kind of freak.
Gonna say my goodnights and take leave.
How you giving him attitude with, okay.
He was getting trained up to be the next spy boy.
What's the spy boy?
Exactly. Do
I
tell.
ain't told you.
We live in the white neighborhood now.
It takes years to develop the mastery of beadwork. And each year, you gotta remaster it again.
You gotta make
That's
it home
awesome.
every year?
And every year, you're a new person. So
It's kind of cool to see the guys doing like crafts like this. You don't see it often.
working.
The hood. I see what this trip was about now. Did you ask to take that, sir?
That was your brother's.
Oh.
I'll finish it for Billy. I owe him that. I'll make it perfect. And I'll march for him.
That's sweet. Look at these father-son arts and crafts. I like it. So much less violent than like boxing or football. Oh, because it must be from Roxxon. Damn, it was a girl too? Wow.
The police rolled up on us.
Wait, is mom gonna be mad about this? Please don't be mad about this, mom.
Boys, Tyrone made breakfast.
Come on, Mom. Try it.
You can cook?
Cooked.
You've been grifting me all these years, boy.
No, but killing yourself?
Right?
I think about it a lot.
What the hell is wrong with you? You have a life and opportunities, and you want to waste them by
Maybe you
killing
shouldn't be a suicide counselor, Tyrone.
No, I
Because you can.
Yep,
You can walk into any room in this world and never be questioned.
exactly.
Try walking into a department store looking like me.
Amen.
That's not fair because I don't
The
think...
world does. This whole country's trying to kill me.
Amen.
Every day.
Hence the beating and the
Excuse me,
torches.
if I-
Please tell me that's not a backpack full of stones. Exactly. The powers are like, not today, girl, not today. Thank goodness for that safe, huh? Can you crack it? Oh, you may not have to. Oh, let's just get control of her powers. Go, girl. All right. Well, that was episode 4 called Call or Response. Very good. Again, very good episode. In a show like this, when you don't have the luxury of the financial freedom to just go out there and do kind of crazy special effects every episode, you really have to make sure that the dialogue and the character interactions are strong. Otherwise, it's going to feel like these episodes are either wasteful or just take too long or are boring. And I have to say, so far, not the case with this show, even though this episode, much like the last one, didn't have much in the way of special effects going on. They really just used a lot of practical stuff, a lot of space, and a lot of really good shooting, and of course, some great dialogue to kind of fill up that space. And honestly, even though it was cool to see the one time that the powers actually interacted, I didn't feel like we were missing anything by not seeing Tandy, you know, do her thing or seeing Tyrone do his thing. So excellent episode in that regard. I didn't take too many notes because I was really listening, because I realized with this episode it could be a lot about exposition when it came to the two main characters and kind of where they're coming from and some of the things I think we just haven't been able to see. Although I have to say, this show has been fantastic about actually telling us and showing us the story and not making us kind of infer and guess, which is really refreshing, because some shows, they leave so much out and so much for us to kind of figure out with no direction, that it's really nice that this show kind of said, no, we're going to show you a lot of stuff about these guys. And sometimes it's without dialogue, sometimes it's just a completely like dialogue free montage or scene that helps us to figure out what's going on with these characters without having to like necessarily tell us, or worse, allow us to assume. So kudos on that as well. Coming back to my notes, the whole thing with Greg, with the lawyer, was very interesting. I think it was kind of neat. I mean, it's kind of cool for Tandy to be able to take a look at somebody and actually see what they're true, it's almost like a truth serum that she has as well, to kind of see what they're truly hoping for. I feel like it needs to be a 1-2, because I mean, yeah, she saw the bright, shiny hope that Greg had, but that's just a hope. You know, a lot of people have hopes on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I could hope to fly today, but then tomorrow I could hope for something completely different. I don't think it's necessarily the best barometer if you don't have maybe someone like Tyrone come in and maybe figure out, like, maybe Greg's deepest fear was that he was gonna murder her mom to death. I don't know. I mean, I went to an extreme, but you guys saying, like, you don't know. That's one extreme. You kind of need the other one maybe to kind of give you some gray in the middle. I thought it was kind of cool that she had that ability to see through someone who is in, well, her mother's life, and I guess to an extent her life. And it was kind of nice to see that Greg genuinely had feelings for her mom, and it wasn't just, you know, a client with benefits situation, which also made me think, I don't know that Greg could have actually represented her, just some real world talk. I'm not sure if you can represent somebody that you actually have a personal relationship with. I'm almost positive that's a conflict of interest. Or not conflict of interest, but I think there is a regulation that once you become emotionally attached to the case or whatever the case may be, that then you're not like looking at it objectively, and then basically a judge or another lawyer could just say, well, you're not looking at this from the lens of a lawyer, looking at it as the lens of a boyfriend, and they would just dismiss anything he did. But anyway, it was very interesting to see that whole situation. It really saddens me for Tandy in the one hand, because I think, you know, we saw in that scene last episode all those men coming into the church, and not all of them were like teenage boys. A lot of them were grown men, and as I said in that episode, I think some of that is probably attachments that she's made to guys that her mother has been with in the past, that she probably started to feel somewhat of a bond towards. And then of course we saw what her mom does. Her mom has a fit or gets upset or whatever the case may be, and she shuts it down. Or if the case is that her mom consistently gets involved with married men, these men probably call it quits whenever it starts to get too hot. So obviously it was nice, I guess, for her to have somebody she could actually logically talk to about this whole case with her father and Roxanne. And now that he's gone, which, oh my God, it makes so much sense now. I thought when Tandy said that her mom and the lawsuits had not gone well in the past, my assumption was because either she had terrible lawyers because she has no money left, or that, you know, Roxanne just had so much money and so much clout that, you know, lawyers were just like, I'm not going to take this case, or they're going to bury me in paperwork or whatever, right? Because usually big corporations have got the legal wherewithal to keep a little guy like this woman tied up in court for decades. But it's deeper than that. Roxanne straight up sent a merc to take him out and burn his stuff down. Like, wow, like what are they really looking at? So they said it was an experiment, and we all know that clearly whatever was in that freighter, it sent out a wave. And we know, of course, that Tandy and Tyrone got a blast of it. But what was it? What was he working on? What was her dad? And was her dad working on it? Maybe he didn't actually, maybe he wasn't working on it. Maybe he stumbled upon it. We know on that phone call that he was on right before he died, he was saying that something along the lines of it was too volatile. and that they had to shut it down. So maybe he was working on it, and it was one of those situations where what we learned in this episode is he's like someone who's always tried to make the world a better place. So maybe he started out with very pure intentions, and then just like greedy corporations and military tend to do, they probably looked at a way to weaponize it or worse. And then, you know, everything went down. But I think what's going on, or I think whatever was in that freighter was probably the one batch of whatever they were trying to make that actually worked, or maybe they think it worked. And my guess is maybe there might be other people who were affected by it, because we saw that blast was huge. It was not just in, you know, the vicinity of where Tandy and Tyrone were. Like, it went right across that lake. I don't know. My theory, my hypothesis at this point is that that freighter had the one batch that actually did something or did what they were hoping for it to do, but they can't recreate it, and they're trying desperately to do that because, as Greg brought it out, they're keeping this project alive. They're still putting money into this project 8 years after it happened. So clearly they're still looking for something, and they obviously don't know that Tyrone and Tandy were affected. But very interesting that we learned all of that. I mean, I would say sad to see Greg go, but we didn't see enough of him to really get attached. But it was nice that he did seem to have a genuine concern for Tandy, and I think she really is craving that male influence in her life because she had that great relationship with her father. I guess that kind of feeds into the whole exchange between Tyrone and Tandy, which was, I love the way they shot that, FYI. Like, when you have limited options for sets, which obviously, again, a lower budget show is not going to be able to have just a plethora of places they could be shooting. The church is clearly one of their main sets that we're going to see this season. And when you have something like that, it's really important not to make it feel tiresome for the audience. And I think the way they shot this episode was such a smart way to do it, with the position changes and the angles, the different lighting, just the way they were positioned and all of it. I think I just noticed watching, I'm like, this is really good. I like the way they're shooting this. It's really interesting for the eye to watch, but it also keeps that church kind of looking fresh. But coming back to their conversation, I was a little worried about how they were going to have this roll out, because now they both know a lot about each other as far as some of the deepest, darkest, most emotional secrets that they both have, but they still don't know each other. Not really. Very interesting to see where they were going to start this conversation and how they're even going to get into it. But I like the way it was handled, that they kind of jumped in, talked about the abilities, but I think they really naturally handled the conversation with them, talking about the fact that these weird things have been happening to the two of them and the fact that they keep getting pulled together. And I think it's very interesting that they brought up the contrast of how, even though their powers keep pulling them together, per se, in the sense of always ending up in each other's orbit, if they try to touch directly, they're pushed apart. So I don't know if that's something that's also from the comics. You guys can let me know, please. Appreciate that. If in the comics they weren't able to, because I mean, if they were together as a couple in the comments or in the comics, I can't think that this whole repulsion thing is forever. I'm okay with it being there right now because it definitely slows the role of Tyrone and Tandy, who, by the way, the actors have great chemistry, you know, and they're sitting there kind of doing their little teeny tiny flirts, mostly Tandy, but, you know, kind of flirting with each other and getting in each other's orbit. Like, you'd feel it's like, okay, these two have chemistry. And I think I read that the actors were cast based on the fact that they had that chemistry together. But yeah, I'm wondering if maybe the show is like, okay, how do we put the brakes on this relationship and not necessarily have them together yet? Well, having their powers kind of be like putting the same, you know, both the positive ends of a magnet together, repulsing each other right now is actually a great way to do it until they get, I'm assuming it's until they get better control. Because Tandy, towards the end of this episode, we saw she's just starting to be able to tap into what she needs to feel to create her dagger. Tyrone isn't quite there yet. His has been triggered by extreme fear so far, and I don't think we want him to have to terrify himself every single time he wants to use it, so he's gonna have to figure out a way, hopefully, to tap into it. I'm thinking his is going to be anger to a degree. I mean, both of them are fueled by fear. They talked about that in their conversation as well, but I think for Tyrone, I think it's going to be a little more of the anger. Either way, hopefully in the next episode or so, we're going to see him get a better hold of what he can do outside of the teleporting. And maybe you guys in the comments can tell me, are there limits, do you know, to his teleportation? Like, could he teleport from New Orleans to like Paris? Please let me know below. That'd be really cool to know. Kind of going into Tyrone's storyline with his father, it was a detour that I didn't quite expect, but I liked it. I'm really liking the trend that I've seen with like Black Lightning, with The Flash, and now with this show of showing more amazing, strong, involved, and just non-stereotypical black men and their relationships with their children. It's very, very important to be seen because we all know that unfortunately black men have not traditionally been shown, other than like Bill Cosby on the Cosby Show, there has not been a lot of black men that are shown as being communicative, loving fathers and men who are willing to do anything for their children and set a really good example for their son. And we really saw that great relationship that he's got. Like, yeah, he's putting a lot of pressure on Tyrone. He's not perfect, I'm sure, as a father, but this episode really showed to me that Tyrone's dad just loves him to pieces. Like, he loved both of his sons to pieces and he doesn't know what else to do. And I like that he brought Tyrone over to his old crew, which I'd love to know more about. That's interesting. I'm wondering if that's also in the comics, but I love that he brought him to his old crew and kind of show like, I know what it is to be a badass. Him bringing Tyrone there and showing that he has this other life that he had in his past and that he walked away from it because he thought other things were more important, like his family. Just to understand that, like, dude, like, I made this choice. You have to make this choice. I can't force you on this path. Like, we're trying our best. Your mom and I are trying our best to set you in the right direction, but it's your choice in the end. Obviously, the trip was also to get the cloak because a lot of people were wondering, well, where's the cloak gonna come from? He's not actually gonna use his bed sheet, is he? So no, now we know where the cloak comes from, and I really like that they've attached the emotional meaning of it being his brother's cloak and the fact that he was drawn to that cloak like his brother was, and his dad immediately taking that as a bad omen. But Tyrone idolizes his brother, so it totally makes sense that he would be, you know, that he would like the same things that Billy would have liked. But I do like that he grabbed it and then he was like, yeah, let's do beat. Like, we got a man saying, I'm gonna do some beading. Give me some hot glue and some needle and thread and let me get my arts and crafts. I like the idea of, you know, a bunch of men doing what people would consider to be kind of girly. Because it's not girly, for the record, but I like that they're kind of showing that that's something you can kind of take the stigma away from. But again, I like that he said he was gonna take it, and off that moment where he looked at his dad, he's like, I'm gonna finish it and I'm gonna make it perfect because it's for Billy. That touched me. That was really beautifully done. I just like that you could see that they kind of had that really chill vibe afterwards. Like, maybe now he can be a little less confrontational where his parents are concerned, because as Tandy brought out in their little fight, like, dude, boo-hoo, your parents love you so much that they're pushing you to be better. Like, the pressure that he's feeling about trying to be good in place of two children instead of just himself, Tyrone's put that on himself. I mean, is there gonna be pressure from his parents to be good and to not follow in his brother's footsteps and to try to be better? Yes, but I don't think either of them expect him to carry Billy as a burden of his development, if that makes any sense. That was pretty much the whole, like, the stuff that I really took the most away from the episode. Obviously, there was the whole storyline unfolding with the two. I mean, the fight that the two of them had at the very end, I think we knew that was coming. Mostly because whenever two people or anyone kind of exposes a very deep personal vulnerability that we have, so sadly our first reaction is typically to be very defensive about it. And while Tyrone, I understood where he was coming from when he told Tandy that she was being stupid for killing herself, he needed to be a little bit more empathetic in that moment and understand that she's been very depressed for a very long time and her life has been hard. He should probably just encourage her to seek out professional help since he is not a professional, but I understand that it was a frustration, and also he's a teenager and teenagers say stuff without thinking. But conversely, with Tandy coming back with that 1-2 punch about, like, the stuff that you're thinking of doing, the dark places you go with your fantasies, where else would that land you, my friend? You would land you directly in jail, or worse, killed. That kind of, again, brought them to a level where only the two of them are going to be able to really relate now on this level, because no one else is going to know the depths of darkness and fear and just vulnerability that the two of them are now exposed to each other. So even though they stormed off, we all know that they're gonna work it out eventually, because who else are they gonna talk to about this? There's nobody else that they're gonna trust to that degree. It'll be interesting to see how they make their way back to each other and what it's gonna take for them to start working together. Like, not only with their powers, but also just as friends. So overall, like the episode as usual. What did you guys think of this episode? Please leave your comments below. Let me know. I love reading your comments and getting involved in that convo with you guys. And if you like this video, please click like. And if you want to see more from this geeky face, please click subscribe. Until next time, see ya.